Hi there. Welcome to Tech Talk Weekly. I'm Bob from Creation Station. This is our weekly show where we give you 4 or 5 interesting news topics of the week, find something fun for you, and send you on your way in about 20 minutes. Starliner is still up at the space station, has not come home yet. Maybe by next week. I don't know. I don't think so, but we'll find out. But we have our guest today. As always, during the summer, we feature all of our summer workers and student workers. Janaea, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
So tell us, what library are you at and what are you doing out there?
I'm at the Lauder the Lauderhill one.
Yep.
The Lauderhill Library, and I do a lot of stuff. I do routers, and I pull books that are damaged and other stuff, and I help with programs.
It's a very good thing.
And I have time to join them.
Yeah. That's one of the nice things about being part of the programming at libraries is sometimes you get to be able to just relax in the back of the room and be part of the program. It's nice. And yes, we have so many Lauderhill libraries. Yeah, everybody gets confused. Don't worry about that. We have 3 different libraries inside of Lauderhill right now. We have some interesting stories. I'm going to get started on the first one. And if you're thinking, Bob, haven't you talked about this a lot? Yes. But here's the reason why this story was kind of an interesting one today. So this article is about why did Homo sapiens outlast all the other human species? And Janaea, did you notice that one there, that 18 different species of humans, of hominids, over the couple million years before we got to us?
It's a lot of years.
Yeah. And so we eventually made it down to 3 species: Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, and Denisovians. If you haven't heard that last one before, it's a very East Asian species before Homo sapiens took over everything. And that was only 40,000 years ago. But one of the things that happens, and why this article is out now, is there's some new studies on what actually happened to help Homo sapiens survive as long as they did. It goes into a great deal of detail about the other species of hominids that grew up and spent a lot of time out there doing things. Did you know that there were that many different pieces out there, Janaea?
No.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that happens. The Paranthropus is the other main branch of the hominids that all died out. And almost at the same time, and this is the one that really gets me about this article, is that talks about the ability of brains and tool use and these sorts of things, and the guessing of how Homo sapiens and Neanderthals' language skills are what saved them and made them go along. But this one factor is all the way at the bottom of this article, and back about 800,000 years ago, there were only 1,300 people on the planet.
It's not a lot.
No. That's less than the city of Lauderhill. Imagine that. I mean, just that little thing. And that's on the entire planet. Every single one of us comes from one of those 1,300 people. That's what caught my eye on this story. And it's just like, holy cow, this is what they mean by those language skills and flexibility and tool use and all those things. Is they needed that because if they didn't have it, there weren't enough people to survive. So when you're thinking about this, about how crazy it is sometimes and how different everybody seems, kind of remember we all come from one tiny little group of people. And by the way, if you want to see more of this stuff, and if you're in South Florida, the Exploring Human Origins exhibit here at Main Library, I've talked about it before, but you've got 6 more days to view it. and then it goes back to the Smithsonian. So if you want to get down here and see some of the fossils and see some of the stuff and all the exhibit pieces and some of the commentary, please come on down to Main Library. It can be a lot of fun, and it's really interesting. And I don't have a good segue to the next piece of becoming human because AI is not becoming human. AI is not going to get human anytime soon. So, Janaea, I know I sent you these links a little while ago. Did you know any of these terms before you started reading this article?
No.
So, one of the things, and oh, by the way, as always, all the links are in the show notes for you, so you can go follow up on these articles directly. This is a good one to bookmark, people. Go read. This is from The Verge. It's just a nice commentary on what a lot of the various commonly used phrases are out there right now and what they're doing about what does artificial intelligence actually mean, what is machine learning, generative AI, hallucinations, etc. You've heard the word hallucinations with AI, Janaea?
No, I heard it for a different term.
Tell me.
Like, seeing stuff around. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, that's the only term that I know of hallucinations. But
Yeah.
the AI term, I don't know that one.
And that's one of the things is so what the term hallucinations in AI means is AI is giving you an answer that doesn't make sense or is wrong. And one of the ways you can know it for everybody out there, if you are talking with somebody about AI and they tell you AI lied, then they're wrong. They don't know. They don't know what they're talking about with AI because AI cannot lie to you, because that would mean AI would actually understand and know the answer and deliberately not tell you the right answer. That's why they call them hallucinations, is because it's just making something up because of how large language models work. And it's just guessing the next word that comes. So hallucinations, bias is another issue that comes up a lot in here, and things of how are these various models and various things that we're calling AI, how we're using those terms are misleading ourselves and giving it more weight than it really does have out there. Generative models are one of the things that you're going to hear a lot about in the next few weeks because they're revealing a couple of big ones coming soon. They're in beta phases right now, where they can just automatically fill in all this image data just from a prompt. But we'll get to that when the models are actually released in a couple of weeks. I want to tell me, Jeanette, do you think you and I both pay the same price when we go to the store?
Probably not, depending on what you get.
Yeah. And this is one of the things. The FTC is initiated a new probe, we're going to call it. It is not it's kind of an investigation, but in political terms, that has a different context. This is just like investigative questions before they launch an official investigation into something. But they're going after people like MasterCard, Visa, Chase, some of the big bank people who are controlling our data and are comparing prices for what we buy and selling us at different prices for the same product. So if you buy, what would you normally go out there and buy, Janaea?
Like,
give me an example.
Food wise or just anything?
Sure, anything. Yeah, food is a very valid thing.
Well, anything. I'll like buy clothes and stuff.
Yep. So clothing in particular, if you're buying from company A and you pay $100, they may be charging me $90 for that same item because of how I'm paying or where I'm buying or when I'm buying. And we're not talking sales. We're not talking things. We're just talking when you go to the website or you go to the store, they just offer you a totally different price. Should that be legal? What do you think?
Mm, no, I don't think
So
so.
it is a very tricky thing. I agree. I hear what you're saying, because yeah, it just instinctively feels bad that you shouldn't be able to do that, and there's bias and discrimination in a way built into that, because if you live in this part of the country or in this part of a city and you're getting charged a different price than this thing, and there's no reason to do that because you're buying it online, why should that matter? It's coming online. It's something that you should be able to do automatically. Or Chase, as a bank, knows who's paying what money for where, and should they be passing that information on to other retailers to tell them, oh, hey, somebody else is charging more than you and they're getting away with it, you can raise your price. Yeah, there's some interesting things going on here, and that's why this is a preliminary probe and beginning to ask questions about what is going on here. And the other thing is because you're using a credit card, because you're doing these things, you have all this personal data from the websites, from Google, when you're doing your searches, etc. That's part of what's coming into it, is that once you start doing the search, they can automatically click over and change the prices based on your search terms. Yeah. It's not a bright, happy world right now for certain things, huh? It's a mess. And what's even more of a mess?
A catastrophe.
Yes. This is horrible. So the headline is amazing. They now have figured out a twice a year injection. You go get, it's effectively a vaccine. You go get it twice a year, and it is 100% effective against HIV. We could eliminate AIDS entirely. Solve it right away. It's amazing. So this is a brand new thing. It stopped all the new infections. A group of women that they did with in South Africa, 5,000 people in South Africa and Uganda. So great progress. This is huge for the this is like when we stopped polio in the 1920s. Here we have a vaccine. Now all of a sudden we can stop polio from affecting all these kids. Now we have this shot we can use to stop people from getting HIV. It's amazing. But it costs $40,000 a year.
Just for a vaccine?
Yeah.
That's backwards.
It's horrible, because if they would allow a different company to put out the generic version of this same exact vaccine, it would cost $40. 10,000% markup. Now, companies should be able to make a profit. There's a lot of R&D, research and development that goes into these things, and this is how these go on. But that's ridiculous. I'm sorry, I shouldn't speak. Tell me, Jania, what do you think about this?
I don't know. It's weird that you have to pay $40,000 just to get a simple injection. They should lower it in order for it to make it affordable for those who's like less fortunate.
Yeah. And part of it is figuring out if this was a drug that is something that's just going to make you lose weight, or something along those lines. Something that's nice, but not medically going to save lives. Then that's a different issue. How much are you going to invest? How much are you going to go spend on this? This is something that's going to save tens of thousands of lives every year. And Gilead, the company here, is just insane. I'm just flabbergasted by it. And the good article from The Guardian going into the details about how it would work, who would supply things, who could do all this stuff, how it would all work to make it at $40. And there is nothing from the company trying to do anything other than, well, we spent money trying to develop this vaccine. And that's it. They don't care that people can't afford it, so we're not going to save lives.
That's messed up.
I know. Oh, but insurance is going to cover that. Well, no. If insurance is going to cover it, that means insurance is going to paying an inflated price also. And you know how that works out is your insurance company just charges you more in premiums so you could have the insurance to pay for the drugs. It's not a okay. I knew this was going to happen to us, Janaea. I've got a good story for us.
Okay.
Giraffes. This is a nice, fun, happy story to end on. And this is a great thing from Western Kenya where it's straightforward pictures. This is another one of those. You need to go follow the links to go look at the pictures. It is great. So they are moving some giraffes from one area of the country, moving them to the west and into a conservation area so that the giraffes can survive because they are becoming endangered. We're losing giraffes drastically out there in the wild. And it is a chance for them to be able to do some more work with giraffes and make sure the genetic diversity and everything in the giraffe population continues. So there's some great pictures of the veterinarians out there with doing the tranquilizer darts. What do you think about giraffes, Janaea?
I've never seen one before.
You've never seen a giraffe before?
No.
I've been to
I've seen it in movies.
Okay.
Like cartoons.
Got to get you up to like Lion Country Safari. If you're down here in South Florida, Lion Country Safari up in West Palm Beach has giraffes wandering out there. It's one of those open park zoos. I just got back from Kenya actually over the summer. We did a safari out there with the migration, and giraffes are amazing, amazing creatures to watch in the wild and watch them doing stuff. And this is just, you can see just how big these animals are. That's a normal sized giraffe. It takes two people just to lift up the head and neck to do it in a safe manner like that. And to see just how tall they are and how they transport them and all of the stuff, just like a horse where you have to cover their eyes if you're going to put them in an enclosed space so they don't freak out. They give them branches to kind of hide a little bit and to feed off of during the transportation. And you can see they transport 3 or 4 of them at a time, sometimes in one big truck. And then all of the local tribe at the conservation area that's there. It's very colorful stuff here. If you're just listening to us, really fun pictures, really beautiful, colorful. Look at the landscape there and look at what conservation in the wild actually looks like. It is great. And this picture right here of the, how's that for the baby giraffe? And the kids have to be standing on the back of a bicycle just to reach up to touch the giraffe's face. That's how tall baby giraffes are. So I wanted to leave everybody with at least some pretty pictures after some horrible, crazy news stories this week. Does that make you feel better, Janaea?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for being on here. Throwing up our final slide is, as always, if there is a library or librarian you want to see featured on the show one week, reach out. creationstation@broward.org and go subscribe. We'll see everybody next week.